I think the Prime Minister, who made a statement right at the beginning, in a sense set the tone for the debate. He said he wanted fundamental reform, he wanted to refashion our membership, he wanted to bring powers back. And really the debate that took place thereafter, and it was a very good debate, was about the means rather than the end. And at the end of the debate, the House agreed that now was not the right time to have this three-way referendum. There were other priorities. And I think that was the right outcome from a very free, open and unstifled debate.
You're not embarrassed by the rebellion within your own ranks?
No, obviously it would have been better if we'd had fewer people, but the important thing is that the government's position was upheld at the end of a very free and open debate. There was a majority of over 4-1 for the position that...
No, but it was always going to be upheld because the opposition was going to vote with you. I mean, the question was always going to be the size of the rebellion, and this has made John Major and Maastricht look like a stroll in the park.
I think it's very difficult, very important to make the distinction between Maastricht. Maastricht was a government bill, and if the government had lost the votes on Maastricht, that could have spelt the end of the government. And the Maastricht bill went on day after day. This was not a vote which threatened the future of the government, and for that reason, colleagues may have felt less inhibited about defying the whips and voting as they wanted to. So I think it's very important not to make too close an analogy with Maastricht, where the circumstances were very different and the stakes were a lot higher.
And if they were less inhibited by three-line whip in this case, why did you impose one? Wasn't that an own goal?
No, the government has a very firm view that this is not the right time to have a referendum on in or out or renegotiation. There are real pressing problems facing the Eurozone, and we have an agenda for growth and for helping sort out the Eurozone issue. And it would have been a major distraction to have legislation on a referendum just at the moment. And I think the government is perfectly entitled to ask its supporters to support the government's view, which I genuinely think was the right way forward with all the uncertainty facing Europe at the moment.
But for the reasons we've just been explaining, the referendum was not going to happen. The problem here is the size of the rebellion, and you have made the Prime Minister look less authoritative than before. His backbenchers have rebelled against him.
No, I don't accept that for one moment. The Prime Minister made a statement before the debate. He showed leadership in setting out the parameters of that debate, making it absolutely clear he wanted to bring powers back from Europe. He wanted fundamental reform of the EU. He wanted to refashion our membership. And the debate wasn't really about the objective. Conservative MPs share the objective which the Prime Minister set out. The debate was whether this was a sensible time to have legislation, uncertainty, a three-way referendum, and no one would have been able to understand what the result was if you get a three-way split on a three-way referendum. And I think at the end of the day that the House of Commons agreed with the government that this was not the right way forward. There'll be other opportunities, as the Prime Minister made clear, to renegotiate the treaty, to take the agenda forward. But today, with the crisis facing the Eurozone, was not the time to inject this fresh uncertainty into the debate about a referendum.